Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the REC podcast, brought to you by REC Comics and Collectibles. I'm your host, Roman Chavez, and with me as always,
Erik Icarus.
Eric,
what's up?
You can find us on the gram at REC Podcast. You can follow myself at Roman REC Podcast. You can follow the shop at REC Comics. You check us out, 7679 North Union Boulevard in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And Eric, you've changed your name so many times. We'll just whenever you come back to it,
I'll be there. I'll be back someday, kids.
There we go. How are you doing this week, buddy?
I'm good, man.
Good, man. We were trying to get together earlier in the week, but work gets in the way, kids. I apologize.
It happens.
But we really wanted to talk with you guys about Thor Love and Thunder.
We've had a few days to ruminate.
Yeah, really marinate with it. I like ruminate. I like that. And we went and watched it opening night because your boy here cannot get anything spoiled, which I would have went fairly spoiler free. I haven't seen any spoilers, and it's because people don't seem to be enjoying this movie.
People are not liking this movie.
I am seeing article after article being written, podcast after podcast being talked about how this is the, phase 4 is the forgotten phase of Marvel. And I think we talked about it a little bit in the last show, but, we're catching up to the issues of COVID.
Yes.
You could see it all over that movie. You can see it all over most of the Marvel stuff that has come out in that time. Some of it's glaring, some of it not. But first, let's talk about the movie itself. Would you like to start?
Yeah. I mean, do we want to do some spoilers?
We are going to do spoilers,
Let's
kids.
do some spoilers.
So this is the ultimate spoiler warning because we are going to talk about Love and Thunder.
Yes. It's cool. I'm glad they brought Taika Waititi back to direct.
I am too.
Seeing as he did Ragnarok.
Arguably top 5 Marvel solo movie, not an Avenger movie.
Right.
Yeah, fantastic. Yes, he's got Hulk and Valkyrie, blah, blah, blah. But as a titular film,
yes, it's great.
Yeah, and, fantastic.
I love the opening. We get Christian Bale as Gore.
Gore, Gore.
It opens up with him crawling through the desert with his presumed daughter.
With his daughter, who, it was already making me sad because anything with fathers and daughters, I was just welling up because they're going through this desert.
Yeah,
and
praying to their God for help.
They're suffering.
Yes.
And go ahead.
And then Gore's, his daughter passes, and then out of nowhere, Gore sees an oasis. And stumbles in there, finds water and nourishment, looks up and sees the God that he's been praying to.
It was like, oh, you've come to help.
Yeah. And he's like, what? No, we're celebrating the death of us killing this.
It was somebody who was
another
killing
God
gods.
Slayer. It was another God Slayer. And basically this God tells Gore, like, what are you talking about? We don't, we're not here for you.
Yeah.
And,
you're here for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Very being pompous and a jerk.
Very condescending. And it was a good way to fast track Gore's characterization. Mm-hmm. You get a feel for who he is. You get a feel for his motives.
Yeah.
Within a good 5 minutes, if that. Granted, that was when we get to our problems and likes of the movie. I'll get more into this. Yeah. But it was a good way to fast track his characterization because he does get the what is it called, the Necro Sword?
Yeah, the Necro Sword.
Yeah, from the fallen God Slayer.
The sword chooses him, an Excalibur type,
which is kind of cool because it's sort of like the mirrored version of Mjolnir in a strange way. Yeah. So he's about to be dispatched by his god essentially, and then Gore picks up the sword and does some work, does some dirt on the god. And
we see, the sword is clearly, affecting him, and the sword wants to be used.
Yes.
And it wants to kill gods, so it's got its avatar.
Right. They should have called it the docking sword.
A lot of this it was a reach around if you ask me. A lot of this movie has to do with like what it is to be worthy.
Sure.
Whether you're worthy of greatness or you're worthy of great death, the great of evil. And for Gore, and what Marvel does best is that you do feel for him. Mm-hmm. Any parent losing their child thinking that, we're praying to someone or something to save us, and then that you find out that they do not care about you, and they almost laugh at the fact that his daughter died, which was just brutal.
Right.
The movie's big, I think, issue is the fact that it's really, really silly.
I feel like they, because after we get the gore scene, we go right into like New Asgard. Or no, we go into the Guardians.
Guardians montage.
Yeah, so it goes into hyper fast, hyper action silliness.
Yes.
We get a narration from Korg doing,
which is great.
Talks about the space Viking and all of his adventures with the Guardians of the Galaxy. And it kind of shows Thor getting back into shape, going from dad bod to god bod is one of his quotes. But then, like I said, that was a problem for me, was the balance of tone.
Yeah.
Was because, we get this super emotional scene from Christian Bale.
Yeah.
And then we go right into silly swashbuckling action of the Guardians with Thor. And, we get onto this planet where Thor is, the Guardians are kind of trying to save this planet.
Yeah.
And
it's just very silly and fun.
It is, yeah, which is, I can appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because for me, the best MCU movie to balance humor and drama was the first Guardians movie.
Yes.
In my opinion, that balanced tone very well. Hats off to James Gunn and the cast for really balancing the humor and the drama. But didn't land here.
Yeah.
Because it was just like, you're getting whiplash from all that.
It was
like, whoa, now I'm sad. Oh, now I'm happy.
Yeah, it was whiplashy because, like I said, if you're a parent, stuff like that it really does sit with you. And,
sure.
But you want it to, obviously. And it does help. It's just, it went like from -0 in the sad meter
to 100.
Yeah, and it was fun though. It was very silly. A lot of people are complaining about the fact that we're using too much CGI. But it looks good though.
It looks okay. But the thing is, I feel my eyes are getting so it's thirsty for something real.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it just seeing so much green screen these days. And that's not just a dig at MCU.
Yeah.
It's every movie. It's all green screen. I understand it's cheaper to do this, but it's like, give us something a little bit more, something more real.
Yeah. Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Well,
you're killing it, buddy.
Dude,
but, I feel like we could have used more Guardians.
Yes.
Because they were only, again, 5 minutes of screen time. And then they're just there to send Thor on his way.
Yeah.
Because the way Endgame left off was, I felt like they were going to be a big part of Love and Thunder.
I was hoping it would have been nice to kind of quasi make it looking for Gamora.
Sure.
And maybe that's why the Guardians leave.
Yeah,
because this Gore thing is happening. And Thor has been trying to help them find Gamora or whatever, and then he has to go. And you have this moment where Star-Lord is telling Thor, you have to look, you look to the people that you love and this and that. And the story really is about love.
It is.
And where you get it from.
Quill's love for Gamora would have been have him go on his own adventure.
Yes.
See, why did they do that?
That
would have been brilliant.
It would have been really nice. There's a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking for this movie.
Absolutely.
Because of where they hit great, and then where they fell short, it fell short in comparison to itself.
Yeah. Well, then we get, real quick back to the juxtaposition. Then we get the, which I thought was an awesome nod to the comic books and the actual Norse mythology, was the goats.
Yes.
Tooth Grinder and Tooth Gnasher.
Yeah.
Which, they do show up in the movie, which I'm like, that's pretty cool. But they scream
all the time,
which would have been funny one time.
Yeah. It went through the whole movie.
And it was so annoying.
Yeah. It would have been nice if they would have done the fall over thing, a couple times.
That would have been funny.
And then they have to ride a buzz to save Thor at some point, And it seems like we're really picking it apart, but
I want to, because being fans of it, I would say it's not our right, but it's sort of like we love it so much. That's why we're going a little hard on it.
Yeah.
But I'm not to say it's all negative, because we do get after this we do get a shot. We go into Jane Foster.
Yes.
Who by Natalie Portwoman.
Port person.
She's not a port man. She's a port woman.
There you go. She
reprises her role as Jane Foster.
Yep.
First time in over 10 years. She's back in the MCU.
Was it 10 years?
It's been 10 years, man.
No, because she was in 2. 2 came out in 14.
Oh, she wasn't 2.
She wasn't.
Okay, so we're coming up on a decade.
Yeah, but
you're coming up on a decade.
Longer than not.
Yes,
because I think the footage of her in Endgame was unused footage from the second or third.
She didn't show up for that.
No, she did not.
Yeah,
but she is, and this is from the comics.
Yes.
So if you haven't read, she has cancer.
Yes,
and she's. In the comics, the hammer just comes to her after the events of Original Sin, where Thor becomes unworthy of the hammer, and he can no longer lift it. It's just stuck on the moon. Odin can't move it. Nobody can move it. It's being particular.
Okay.
Thor becomes unworthy. It starts off a really cool story where you get to find out who Thor is without the hammer. The story is the unworthy Thor, and it's great. But then there's this lady Thor running around in the comics. And they do a good job in the comics, spoilers, of really misdirecting us. In the comic, Jane does have cancer, and she is in Asgard receiving mystical treatment.
Okay.
She is there receiving mystical treatment.
Okay.
And they really throw us off in the comic, because we see her, and she's all frail, and she's sick, and all of that. And when we're seeing this Thor, we're like, oh my God. And it was cool, because it had been so long since they had played into the Donald Blake aspect of the comics that you really, I didn't even really pick up on it in the movie.
I loved it, because when Jane lets go of the hammer in the movie for too long, she reverts back to her human form.
Yeah.
Which, like in the comic books, Don Blake or even Eric Masterson, lets go of the hammer, they revert back to their human form.
For like, it's like for 30 seconds.
30 seconds or something, which is insane.
It's ridiculous.
Some arbitrary number.
That's weak magic, bro.
Yeah,
weak magic there, Odin. But so in the comic, she gets the hammer. It chooses her, and it's cool because it really personified the hammer a little bit, and I didn't really like that at first, but I liked where it ended up going, because now in the comics we have Odin's soul bound to the hammer, and so you have Thor and Odin talking to each other a lot, which could be really cool down the road. And remember, just as in the comics.
Yes.
So in the movie we see that Jane is getting cancer treatment. She's thinking that Mjolnir can heal her, like a piece of it might be able to heal her because it's calling to her.
Yes.
And she's reading in the old, books that like it has healing properties and blah, 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 blah.
And we get real quick, we get a cameo from Darcy.
Oh yeah, Darcy
shows back up for a minute, because she was in WandaVision,
and Selvig.
Selvig for 2 seconds.
For 2 seconds, yeah.
Yes, which was nice. Good, a little, return to form. It was good to see them for a couple seconds.
And I don't want to hit on all of the points, because if you haven't seen it, it's fun, guys.
It's a great movie.
But
we're just trying to give you a big rundown. Then we're going to give you like what we liked and didn't like about it.
With Multiverse of Madness being so well done, even though there's a lot going on there and it has its faults, No Way Home, story-wise, so solid, so redemptive for the previous Spider-Man. This one had big shoes to fill, because Ragnarok is so good. I like Ragnarok better.
Okay. I enjoyed this better on some aspects. I did enjoy the villain better in this.
Yes.
Christian Bale killing it as Gore.
Yes.
If you ever wanted to see what Batman would be like acting like the Joker, because
he's a little zany.
And I think that was an issue some people had, was the inconsistency with his character.
Because sometimes he was very like
menacing and stoic, then he goes into full-on zaniness.
But that's how the Joker is.
Exactly. Yeah. But the reason I can justify him being like this is because there's a scene when he big plot spoiler here, Gore captures all the kids from Asgard, from New Asgard, holds them hostage, takes them to the Shadow World.
Which was cool.
Very interesting look to it.
Would have been nice to have some Guardians there to help fight some shadow monsters. Yes.
But so Heimdall's son, whose name is Axel, long story there, he is able to use his dad's vision powers to communicate with Thor.
His Thundercats sight beyond sight.
Exactly. And Thor is he's trying to help these kids, but then Gore shows up to taunt the kids. Yeah. And I want to attribute his zany behavior because he's around kids. That is what broke him. Oh. So he's starting to lose control. He's seeing the innocence in these kids, and it's sort of like reverting his mind back to how it is to lose a child, and he wants to inflict that on everybody.
And I bet you he's trying not to be as scary.
That makes sense.
Like there's a part of him. I like that. I like where you're at. That there's a part of him like, I know I've taken you, but I'm not going to do anything to you. His ultimate goal is to reach eternity. Right. Eternity is a cosmic being in the Marvel comics. Yes. And I'm a little here's another big thing that I did not care for. In Multiverse of Madness, you have this Book of Ashanti that'll grant you anything you need to what's the word?
MacGuffin?
It's a MacGuffin, but there's another word too, I thought. But yeah, it's a MacGuffin. Eternity here is a MacGuffin. If you can find eternity,
it grants you one wish.
You can have any wish you want. And Gore the God Butcher would like to kill all of the gods. He can do it in one fell swoop.
Yes. He wants to Thanos all the gods.
Yeah. Seems like he needed some stones.
Yes, I know. Too, yeah? What what cracked me up was like when he's taunting the kids in his little cage, their cage. He does that Simpsons where Krusty's doing the Gavo show, and he like kicks the puppet into the audience.
Yeah, that was wild. That was wild. I don't want to spoil how he can get to eternity. I want to still leave some stuff out there for you, but we are going to spoil.
We do get some real quick towards the end. We get a few cameos.
Give me some cameos.
Well, we saw the Living Tribunal.
We did see the Living Tribunal.
Yeah.
Well, we saw a statue.
We
saw that in the trailer. We saw the statue of the Watcher, just other cosmic beings.
Yep.
And we saw Olympians.
Yes.
Not just Olympians. We saw other gods within the Marvel Universe. It was kind of an interesting thing. I didn't
care for the betrayal.
Yeah.
Because the gods are hiding out in this sort of like secret world.
Cloud City.
Cloud City. And they're Valkyrie, Thor, and Jane Foster are going there to ask for help to get an army of gods to go fight Gore.
Yeah.
And it turns out all these gods have turned into hedonistic a-holes.
Yeah, there's going to be like an orgy at some point.
Yeah, they bring that up quite a bit.
Yeah, a lot of orgy talk. A lot more orgy talk than I want, but I get it. Russell
Crowe
as
Zeus, which is awesome, but I really wish they would have played it a little more straight. Like, I really wish that Zeus would have seen Thor, obviously known him, and it been a little more like, hey, I heard about your father. Yeah. I respected your dad.
I would have liked that too.
I would have liked to be less goofy and him being more like, we can't help you because we're afraid. Straight up just saying, we're safe here. And then it kind of gives...
Or Hercules comes with us to fight shadow monsters.
Exactly. Which we all wanted.
Yeah.
But we kind of get this, like, Zeus is a hedonistic a-hole, and they realize they just need his thunderbolt.
Yeah, they need his thunderbolt, which very much, again, we have we have Mjolnir, we have Stormbreaker, we have the Necrosword, and we have the Thunderbolt, which is very powerful. And I liked the idea that Thor was kind of a fanboy of Zeus because he's the god of thunder, he's the god of lightning, and blah, blah, blah. And it was just, I'm okay with the orgy stuff, but I would have liked your father was a great man.
Yes, you're a good person, but we're afraid.
But they really made the other gods just all seem like pieces of crap besides the Asgardians.
Yeah.
Which was weird.
And again, it just goes to show that as much as I love Taika Waititi, he just can't. It worked in Ragnarok. It didn't work here. It's just too much zaniness.
I would have liked to have seen
it back a little, man.
If Khonshu was there, that'd have been cool.
Why wasn't he there?
He might have been there. We just didn't, maybe they showed him, but we didn't see him.
Why didn't we get a prominent shot of him?
I know.
Tie it in a little bit more.
Yeah, it would have been cool. It would have been cool. Just those things, or at least some of the other. And maybe there were. I've only seen it once.
Me too. Yeah, and then we get the Panther God from Black Panther.
That was great.
That would have been awesome. But I think they wanted to he wouldn't be involved in this orgy kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Like, he seemed to be very just... Hey, I'm taking stuff down, and maybe this is happening at a different time.
Sure, it was. Again, back to going into the things I loved. I did love Natalie Portman's portrayal.
Dude,
she was really
killed it.
Awesome as Jane Foster and as Thor.
She needed more time.
She did. Again, I think that the movie lacked a lot of substance. We needed to spend more time with Gore. We needed to spend more time with Jane Foster reconciling her disease.
Yeah.
I needed more time with that.
Because as in the comics, as is the movie, the more she uses the hammer, it's accelerating her cancer.
Exactly.
Which seems a little silly, but it is from the comic. I'll take it. I'll take it. And, you have Thor and Jane kind of rekindling their love.
Right. Which could have been a great scene, but then again, they have to undercut it with Korg singing. And, it could have been, because when she tells him, I have cancer... we get a good 30 seconds of oh, wow, this is really heavy and deep. Then it gets silly again. And it's that should have been a moment to where it was really just sad.
Let
us be sad.
Taika out-Taika'd himself. He out-Taika'd himself.
He did.
And I don't know if it was editing, because there was continuity errors.
It was a little choppy.
It was choppy. And again, I think that does have some stuff to do with COVID. But I don't know. I'm making excuses. Because I really did enjoy the film.
I did too.
It's super fun.
It doesn't deserve all the hate
it's just, we went No Way Home, which I would argue No Way Home is better than Multiverse of Madness.
It is.
But Multiverse of Madness gave me more heroes.
Sure.
And that's what I like. I like more powers.
Of course.
So, I like that. I like again, we're redeeming in Multiverse of Madness, Xavier, the Inhumans.
Reed Richards.
There was great stuff.
We didn't get any big reveals like that in here.
Except in the credit scene, which I won't. Let's not spoil it.
Okay, we won't spoil that.
I am gonna have to spoil my favorite line in the whole movie.
Oh, it's probably my favorite line too.
And me and Eric looked at each other.
Yeah, I even said, wow, really?
Yeah, loud, audibly. So I'm sorry, but we have to talk about it because I don't want to talk about it later.
Yeah.
The greatest line in the movie, we get to this point where they get to eternity, obviously, and Gore is, I think they destroyed the sword.
Yes.
Or at least separated it from him where he's dying.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm sorry, guys. But this line is worth it. And the way he delivers it is, I'm not taking anything from it.
Christian Bale.
So good.
Killing it.
So they're kind of in this thing where he only gets the one wish, and he's dying. And his greatest wish is to take revenge on the gods.
Right.
And Thor is holding Jane because
she's dying as well.
And he says, he's like, you make your wish. I don't care. Like, he just wants to hold the woman he loves kind of thing.
And he said, why would you do this?
Yeah. He's like, what would you do for your love? And he goes, and it's something to the effect of, like, you should stop. And Gore says, he says, what kind of father would I be if I stopped? Yeah. And you're just like, oh.
Just the way he says it, you're like, oh. And again, taking 2 seconds of dialogue, summing up his character again. And you're just like, wow. Yeah, you're right.
And dude, in that moment when Eric said "wow," I looked at him and I was like,
"Yeah,
I would make the wish too."
Yeah,
like there was no part of me that wouldn't want vengeance.
Yeah,
but I won't spoil. I won't spoil.
Right.
I don't want to spoil that
too much of it.
There's still great stuff in that scene that is totally worth it.
Totally worth it.
And but that line, what kind of father would I be if I stopped?
Yeah, it just gut punches you again. Oh. Give us another 10 minutes to flesh out Gore. And I would have been. He would have been Thanos level villain.
Dude, he was.
It was like you only get 5 minutes to spend with him in the beginning.
Yeah.
You get that awesome line at the end, and then you kind of get his zaniness through and through. But then you really understand why he's doing this, and then even the fight scene in the Shadow Realm, where he's going through all three of them, Valkyrie, Jane, and Thor, telling them why you're doing this. Why you're doing this is wrong.
Yeah.
It really doing kind of jokering them. Yeah. Kind of playing to their psychological weaknesses. Yeah. And it was, again, Christian Bale is the man. I love you, man. You're such a great actor, dude.
I loved it that I think he only saw Endgame. Oh, he said the only one I saw was the bloke collecting stones. So
that makes sense. I love it.
But I don't think that. I think that all of the acting was top notch.
Sure.
Tessa Thompson is Valkyrie and the King of Asgard. I love that they've gone that route where like she's king. She's not Queen of Asgard. She's King of Asgard.
Why can't she be Queen? That's kind of what bugged me. Because to me, it feel like a king and a queen is equal.
Yeah.
You're ruling.
That's interesting.
Why do you have to? I mean, unless that's how you're identifying yourself.
Yeah.
If you want to say, "Hey, I'm a king,"
you got to remember, Asgard is old tradition. I'm surprised. It would have been nice to see that there were people who were like, "Yo, Valkyrie wasn't even like a part. Like she had renounced Asgard for
forever,
tens of years, thousands of years, whatever." And then Thor just kind of makes her king.
Yeah,
without even talking to people.
Yeah, so, they're like, okay, I guess this will work.
There's some plot hole stuff there.
Yeah, again, there's some things they could have touched up.
Yeah.
But again, I think it comes down to COVID.
Yeah.
They were working in a time where I'm shocked they were able to patch this movie if they had to patch it together. They patched it together.
Remember how long it took us to get a trailer? This was the shortest time between release of a film and release of a trailer that Marvel's ever had.
That's very, very true.
And even the stuff we got, there's talks of a 4-hour cut of this movie.
Oh, I believe it.
I believe it too, because there's a lot more fleshing out that could have been done.
Sure.
But overall, it's a strong B+ for me.
Me too. Because you're getting the aspect again, and I think a lot of Marvel movies touch on the loss factor, loss of family. That's what drives people to do good or bad.
Wanda,
or the gray area.
Wanda looking for her kids.
Yeah.
Gore avenging his children.
Yeah. There's a lot of Marvel tropes going here, which is it's a good trick.
Yeah. Yes.
It's fine.
It's an easy way to get us on board.
Of course.
We all understand that. In Shang-Chi, where it's like disgruntled, estranged father, death. It's. Disney has always been built on the loss of a parent.
Sure.
And Marvel's just carrying that torch and really...
But I will say this movie does touch on a lot of existential thoughts on higher power.
Oh, completely.
And it was a little weird to see this Disney movie kind of
play with
taking an atheist stance.
It would have been. I wonder if there's a Jesus or a God look in that.
Right. I'm shocked they didn't do that.
It wouldn't shock me if it's there.
But kudos to them for not taking the low road and lambasting Christianity outright.
Yeah, very, very smart.
I think what I liked most about that aspect was that it was like, you can put a faith in a higher power.
Yeah.
But, ultimately it's up to you to better your life.
God only helps those who help themselves,
that's
kids.
True, right? Man, And, one little nitpick I did have is during the fight, kind of at the end, I'm not going to spoil anything too much, but when Gore is seeing Thor fight for his people, that should have signaled to him oh, not all gods are bad.
Yes.
That should have been kind of the trigger for Gore, he's standing up for his people.
Yeah, at least to see that, where my gods failed me.
Yeah, this
god. So
yes,
maybe there
maybe the sword was corrupting him.
Yes,
I think it's a mirror thing to Mjolnir, where it's only the truly vengeful can wield the sword. Yeah. Where it's pure. You have to be pure of heart to lift Mjolnir. You have to be completely entrenched in vengeance, so it clouds your mind. Yeah. So I don't get B+. I'm with you.
Yeah.
It wasn't completely. Don't buy into the hype. Go watch it for yourself. Yeah. Don't jump on the hate train. It's a good movie. It's a solid Marvel movie. It's not bad. It's pretty dang good.
And with the hate train, like I said, I keep seeing all these articles and stuff about the Lost phase. Guys, this is kind of the jumping the shark phase.
Yeah, there you go.
They're still giving us very, very high level entertainment.
Yeah, it's quality stuff. It's fine.
Yes, some of the shows are falling flat.
Oh, yeah.
For Moon Knight, we'll see how She-Hulk does, but I'm enjoying the ride, guys. There's a lot more good here than not.
Of course, yeah.
And man, if they release a Taika Waititi cut, I am here for it.
I'm here for it too.
But I know that sounds very hypocritical since I slammed the Snyder cut and everything, but I also enjoyed this. So give me more of what I enjoy.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't give me more of something I told you I hated to your face. But I think, guys, the best part of this, and we got to really, this is where I'm at. This is my headspace. The best part of this is that I think we can only go up from here.
Sure.
We can only go up from a B+. That's great.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Strong A on the Multiverse of Madness. Strong A on No Way Home. B on the Shang-Chi.
B, yeah.
Yeah, guys, we got passing grades here, guys.
Yeah.
I would not be afraid to present Love and Thunder as my final project.
Sure, very true. What I also think is cool is again, we can only go up because we got X-Men coming, kids. We're only going to go up from here. You know what I mean? And
in the middle of this, they figure it out oh, crap, we have to figure out how to fit all this other stuff that we just got, all these new toys.
Right.
So it's
it's a hot science.
It's like playing Mercury. All right? We owe Marvel a little bit of leeway.
Sure.
And again, they're still giving us solid stuff, kids.
Yeah, it's not awful. I think, again, maybe part of it is a little of the bubble bursting a scotch, but in a time when people were locked down for almost a year and a half of their lives,
some places 2 years,
binging superhero after superhero film, I can see a bit of fatigue developing.
We've fatigued ourselves,
Sure.
and they have been giving us plenty of stuff to. Yeah. They were like, "Hey, you guys need entertainment. You guys need entertainment.
Right?
We need money. We need money." And for the most part, again, they're batting well.
Yes.
Okay.
Fine. Yeah.
The worst part of this phase 4 is Eternals.
I don't even know what that is.
I'm sorry. It's okay. It's all right.
That never happened.
It never happened.
If I was Gore, that's what I would wish for.
Yeah,
it never happened.
Yeah, he gets up there and he's like, "I wish the Eternals didn't exist," and then we're good. We're good.
It's always like, I'm good with that.
Yeah. So you guys are right. Kids, that's our show. If you like what we're doing, please hit that subscribe button. Mm-hmm. Leave us a comment below. Click that little bell so you know when we have new shows. And let us know what you thought of Love and Thunder. Guys, I'm not saying it doesn't have its issues. I do understand that. But at the end of the day, I want to be entertained, and I was entertained for 2.5 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Eric, do you have any final thoughts for us today?
I do. Visionary, savior, madman, it doesn't matter. I am sinister.
Interesting, kids. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. I have been your host, Roman Chavez.
I'm still Eric Icarus.
And we will catch you on the next podcast.